All right, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's live. We have a pretty good audience tonight. I think it's a good topic because a lot of people are just getting started with Amazon and just trying to figure things out and how to, get started, like learn the ropes and know the ins and out of becoming an Amazon reseller. So we actually I have a good presentation today. We have a video that I want to show you. I actually did a retail arbitrage trip yesterday, and I'm going to be sharing that with everyone. So if you are tuning in the Zoom, let us know where you're from, where you are in your selling journey with Amazon. If you're brand new or you've sold something before, what type of model you're selling, like is it retail arbitrage, replan, wholesale, private label, whatever it is. You can unmute yourself too if you want to talk. If not, that's totally cool. I have my lovely assistant here, which is also my husband. He's going to be answering questions in the Zoom chat.
Yep, so feel free to post any questions you have in both the Zoom chat and also on Facebook Live. So I'll be moderating them there, and then we'll try to get to them all.
Yep. So before we get ready started, I'm just going to check out who's on live. We have a few returning people. Hi, Marty. Hi, Christina. Nikki, I think this is your first time tuning in with us. Hi, Carrie. Naz is coming back. We have another Carrie.
We got Tracy from the Bay Area.
Hi, Tracy. Oh, wow. You guys are like going through a drought.
From California.
Hi, Alexia. That's a pretty pretty name.
And then we got Cheryl from Ohio.
Hi, Cheryl.
Minhan from Massachusetts.
Oh, I didn't know you were from Massachusetts. Awesome.
And she apologized for not being as interactive last week because her dog got out of the yard. Oh boy. Oh, hopefully you got him back. Jessica from Texas says hi. Carrie from Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, we have another Carrie, two Carries. Actually, we have three Carrie, but you guys all spell your name differently.
So we have coast to coast, all different corners of the country. So yeah, definitely a good crowd here today.
Yeah, I think someone said they're from the Bay Area. I hope you guys are doing okay with the drought. I know it's pretty rough over there. Maria is joining us from Boston, Massachusetts as well on Facebook.
We got MJ from Fort Worth, Sheena from Indiana, Christina from Seattle.
Oh, Christina's from Seattle. See, I talk to you guys every single week, but I never know where you're from. So I think this is cool. I'm probably gonna do this every single week just so we can get to know each other a little bit more.
Yeah, in case anybody's new here, Amy and I are in Maryland right now.
Oh yeah, so that's where we're at. The DMV area. And so if you guys are returning, welcome back. If you are just joining us for the first time, we do these lives every single week around 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we each week there's a topic. Some weeks it might just be a ask me anything type of deal. Those are actually really popular too, but I think the most popular are the topics like today where we kind of help you. There's somebody where we help you just to kind of get started with Amazon, because I know that as a beginner it can be very intimidating. It can be super time consuming and sometimes just discouraging when you can't find products. And so that's what we're going to be talking about mainly today. I actually did a live sourcing. Oh, you guys can you see us now?
Yeah, I think they just saw us in the corner there. But
okay.
It should be full screen for most people now.
All right, cool. So yeah, like I said yesterday, I did a little retail arbitrage sourcing, and I found a few products. I was thinking about doing replan too, but I feel like that might be a little too complicated for a lot of people who are just starting out. So my purpose for doing that trip is to show you that you can actually find products really fast in the clearance aisle. I know I talk about not to do retail arbitrage if you want to scale your business, but if you're just starting out, hi Mariella, I think I see you.
Oh, hi, sorry.
It's okay. I don't know if you want to see your video, but okay. Did you want to say hi or introduce?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the retail arbitrage trip yesterday was actually a success for me, and I was able to find a couple products within like 15-20 minutes. And one of them actually, there was like 11 units. Each one of them made like $16. So I was doing the quick math, and it would have been about $150 just within like 15 minutes. But of course, we have a lot of experience in that, we've been doing it for like almost 6 years now. So I was able to spot the products pretty fast. But if you're like just new and you're starting out, I would say start with retail arbitrage, which is pretty much just buying things at clearance aisle or even at thrift stores for really low and brand new, of course, and then selling it on Amazon for a little profit. Because that way you can start to build up your cash reserve. And that's actually what we started out with. We started with retail arbitrage because that's what most people know when they think of Amazon. So I really like Walmart, especially the clearance aisle, because you can find some pretty good items there. So a little bit about us. So like I said, we started with retail arbitrage, and then we jumped right into private label. And private label was a whole different beast because we had to come up with a lot of money. I think we started with $6,000. With retail arbitrage, we started with like $200, and then we were able to pretty much make that back within a couple weeks. So small investment, but then also small returns. So it kind of took us a while to build up like $1,000, for example. So we then looked into private label, but then private label also took a really long time because we had to outsource from overseas. And it took about 3 months or so before we actually saw any type of returns. Not to say that it doesn't work for a lot of people, because it definitely does. But for us, we found that Replan actually works the best. And Replan is just a subset of retail arbitrage, where you don't have to keep on finding things in the clearance aisle or at deep discount. You can actually buy things at retail price and resell them for a profit. And we talk about a lot of that, and we actually have an article.
Yeah, I just linked it in both Zoom and Facebook, so it's a little write-up we did of what Replan's all about and how it compares to other methods of selling, such as private label.
Yeah, so yeah, if you're familiar with retail arbitrage, Replan is just like that, except it stands for replenishable. So you're able to buy it over and over again. With retail arbitrage, you never know if one day you're going to be able to find something at this price and be able to find it again, right? Because things go in clearance, and sometimes you might be able to find some hidden gems, but then it might not go on clearance again next month. So replenishable items are things that are on the shelf. You can just keep, take it off the shelf, and then once you sell it, you can replenish it the next month and over again. So with that model, it does take a little bit longer to find the products, and it takes a little bit of getting used to reading Keepa graphs. So Keepa is a tool that I recommend to anybody who's just getting started. It's spelled Keepa. So it's a Chrome extension, and now they just recently rolled out an app for it. So you can use it while you're doing your shopping trips. So you read the graph so that you know the history of that product. And using Keepa, the data that they give you, you're able to see how many sales has been going on with this listing, what are the price history of that product. So you can kind of see if it's been going up or down, or maybe it's seasonal and it only sells well in the Christmas time. So Keepa gives you all of that data, as well as like the number of sellers, whether or not Amazon is on the listing. So it's really cool. Like that was probably the number one tool that I recommend anybody to get. It is a monthly subscription, so it's $17 a month, but it's really worth it because it helped us to save a lot of like money from making bad buying decisions. So definitely recommend that tool.
Yeah, so speaking of tools, I just linked our page of online tools that we love, which includes a link to Keepa, amongst a bunch of other tools that we use on a regular basis. It's everything on there for us is pretty much essential, not required for everybody, especially if you're starting out. But obviously we've been doing this for a while, and these are the exact tools that we've used to get to where we are now.
Yep. So those are the tools. It's again not required. The only thing that's actually required, and I had someone ask me this today, is the Amazon Seller app. So you need to have that app. It's free. So in order to get that app, you need to have an active selling account. So nowadays, Amazon is requiring you to submit some forms and documents to verify that you are who you are. And the verification process can take anywhere from a day to a couple weeks. So if you are, just thinking about this business, just go into seller.amazon.com and register your business. There's no fees attached to it or anything. So once you are registered and they verified your account, then you're able to download that app and then you can go scanning. And going scanning is a lot of fun. It can be, again, intimidating as well because you don't know what you're doing and you might think other people are looking at you funny. But honestly, people don't care what you do. Yesterday when I was like shopping, I was kind of like self-conscious. I was like, okay, what if people are looking at me scanning? But then this guy took out his app and started scanning as well. And he was just scanning for the price. So I was like, okay, so, I'm doing my thing and I'm talking to my phone because I'm trying to record this video for you all. And nobody cares what you do.
I've actually been mistaken for a Target employee, actually more than once. So
Oh, yeah.
during the wintertime, I have this red vest that I wear, and admittedly, it looks like I do work at Target. And then I have my phone out, I'm scanning items, and then it's like, excuse me, you know where? I'm like, sorry, I don't work here. So
You got mistaken a couple times too.
yeah, at least a half dozen times in the last year or so. So it happens a lot.
Yeah. Once you have the app, you can start scanning products. Again, I would recommend just going straight to the clearance aisle if you're just getting started because you can get those really quick wins. The prices are reasonable for what you can resell it for and the profit that you can make on Amazon. So let me go ahead and share this video that I did yesterday with you all. It's my first time sharing a video, so excuse me if it doesn't work out very well, but all right, let me do screen share. Okay, so I think you guys can see my screen and here we go. Okay guys, here's the clearance aisle at Walmart. And as you can tell, it's super chaotic. So don't get overwhelmed. Start looking at things that you're familiar with if you can. If not, I recommend starting with like categories like sports and health, office supplies, home and kitchen, because these are the categories that you're actually ungated in. You don't have to be submitting invoices to sell them. So if you're brand new, look into those ungated categories. Okay guys, so I found some of these adjustable hooks. I'm just going to do a quick scan to make sure that I can sell them. Okay, so we weren't able to find these command hooks. I'm just moving on to the next product. Let's see. So right now is when I am searching for a bunch of products and I didn't find anything, but and it was actually for about $17. So let me show you what the profit looks like. Okay. So if the image doesn't scan for you, then you can always scan the barcode. And this is bringing up $17.94. And so if you, okay, so I already did the math for you. If you bought it for $7, looks like you can make $2.77.
on this product, so it's not a bad product. Let's see if we can find a better one.
Okay guys, so I'm really excited about the next product because I scanned it and it cost $30 and it's selling for about $26 on Amazon. So, and there's 7 of them. So let me show you what they look like. Okay, so it's actually these baseballs. It is selling for $3. And right now I can find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of them. They're selling for $26 and we make about $13.77 each. Hey guys, so today's shopping trip was
Found, like I said, it is selling for about $27 to $26.48. And if I input in, it's going to, I'm going to make about $13 from each one of them. So, like I said, I found 9 of them, but I actually found like 2 more that was hidden. So it's actually 11 of these baseball things. And if I make 13.53, sorry, 13.53 each, and there was 11 of them, I can potentially make $148 if I sell all of these baseball things. So
all right, so you guys saw what I did there. I kind of had to fast forward the part where it took me forever to find products, but I did a few scans. I think I did like maybe 5 or 6 scans for products before I found those baseball things. But that's just to kind of show you that it takes a little bit of patience. And even with the experience that I had, I still had to go through and kind of scour the items. So that's retail arbitrage in a nutshell. You can
Tracy actually had a comment, so she noticed that the sales rank was
300.
300,000. Yeah.
Yep. So that's one of the things that I was going to go over next, because that's a good observation. 300,000 doesn't get you a lot. That this item itself sells only about, I think, 10 times a month. So even if I was the only seller, I can sell, if I buy all 11 of them, it would take me about a month to sell everything. But if you notice, there was about 10 other sellers on this listing, and Keepa will actually tell you how many units each seller has in stock. So if you have all this data, you can kind of guess how long it'll take for you to sell out, right? So I wouldn't buy all 11 of them. I probably would buy like 3 to 5 just to see how well it sells. And then if it sells immediately, I'll go back and get more. So this is retail arbitrage. But the thing about it is that next month, if I come back, there might not be there anymore. So replan is just like this, except you don't have to go to clearance. You just buy them retail price, full price. You can also do it online. So online arbitrage is very similar. You just buy things like this and then resell it. So there was a, wait, which means that's probably making about 2.
Yeah, Tracy is guessing about 2 a week, which is about 8 a month or 10, like you were guessing.
Yeah,
so
it's right.
That's right on point.
Yeah, so for the, if anybody who's not familiar with the rank, so BSR stands for best sellers rank. The higher the rank, the slower the items will sell. And it depends on the category. So this item was in the
So
sports
just to clarify,
category,
higher the rank just means like a bigger number.
bigger number.
Because when you
Yeah.
talk about ranking, typically number 1 is the best.
Right.
So sometimes it's a little bit confusing when we're talking about ranking, but just like the larger number means that it's more slower moving, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about like ranking somebody from something from best to worst, number 1 is the best, right? All the way down to like, I don't know, like 100,000. So in that case, a bigger number, like 1 million, will be really, really slow. You want to be number 1, which is a smaller number, but also more highly ranked.
Yeah, but the thing about being number 1 is that there's also a lot of competition, and Amazon will be in the running as well. They always want to sell things that are super profitable and also fast movers. And so you want to be at around like somewhere depend, like if we're selling groceries, we're okay with selling 100,000, sometimes even 200,000 if it's profitable. If it's toys, you know, you can be at 100,000. If you want to do like super fast movers, 50,000 is good, so that you are kind of staying under the radar, but you're not selling too slow where you're just like barely making any sales per month. So you want to be in like the sweet spot, right? So that's where Keepa comes in again. We also like using Helium 10 because Keepa doesn't really tell me the number of sales per month. It kind of estimated over the course of 90 days. But Helium 10 is another Chrome extension. And the only one that I buy from them is the X-Ray, because that's the one that will tell me how many sales per month the listing is making. Because sometimes you can't really tell by the bestsellers rank, the BSR, but Helium 10 will tell you that. And some people actually prefer Jungle Scout as well. So either one works just fine. I know Marty, she's been using Jungle Scout for a while. So we used it back in when we were doing private label and we were grandfathered in. So, but we just kind of prefer Helium 10 a little bit better.
So Jessica on Zoom is asking, is there a cheat sheet for good rankings in each category?
Yeah, so Jungle Scout actually has a estimated bestsellers rank, and we'll see if we can find that for you and link it. But yeah, there is a cheat sheet for when you're just shopping and you want to do like a quick, you know, math in your head. You don't want to, but you have that BSR depending on the category. That's good to go back on as a cheat sheet. So yeah, so actually I think they made it even better. It used to be like a list with a bunch of items, but now you can put in the category and what was the other thing? Now
so you put in the
BSR.
rank, and then you choose a marketplace like US, and then the category, and then it'll give you an estimate of sales.
Yeah, and it's free. So the only thing is that you would have to use your browser. You'd have to put it in like junglescout.com/estimator to get to that. But if you find a really good item, then you know this is worth doing. It takes a couple minutes to do, so it doesn't take a lot of time at all. Yeah, so that's how I pretty much find new items. I think Marty has a question. Let's see. Hi Marty, she said, I learned how to figure out my ROI while I was in the store scanning, as I don't want to buy if it's not profitable. Yeah, for sure. So when we first started out with retail arbitrage, we were doing thrifting. We went to Goodwill and everything is like less than $5, $1, $2 here. So to us, we had no idea what bestsellers rank was. And we thought that the item was so cheap. And even if we don't make any money from it, it was only a couple dollars. But we didn't know that Amazon dings you if you put things in there for too long. If you store things in their inventory warehouse and you don't sell, they're going to ding you. They're going to decrease your inventory performance index, your IPI score. And if your IPI score is not good, you're not going to be able to send things in, and they're going to cap you at a certain limit. So just make sure when you buy things, you want to make sure it sells. For us, anything that doesn't sell within 90 days, we're clearancing it out. We're going to remove it. We're going to, you know, pretty much move on with the next products if it doesn't sell within 90 days. During Christmas, though, so someone asked me a really good question. Is it worth it to buy things now, save it, and then send it into during Christmas time? The answer is yes and no. So if you have the money for it, and right now you have the space to store it at your house, sure, why not? Because everything sells during Christmas time. But if you need cash flow, a lot of people are stuck with cash flow. Like they don't know when to, you know, how much they need to get started. So if you need cash flow, then you don't want to store things and just leave it there as dead inventory until Q4. So you want to find things that are actually selling now within the next few months, if not like within the month. And do you want to keep them? Okay, so during Q4, in order to sell toys, you need to have certain metrics, right? And Amazon will not let you sell toys, unfortunately, until you've met those metrics. And someone asked me if we can send in toys now. to start making sales. And then once Q4 rolls around, they're going to be able to meet all the metrics to sell toys. So that's a pretty good way to get started. And you need to sell at least 26 weeks in order to generate an IPI score. So if you're just starting out now, I would say send in whatever you can, but make sure that it sells. And in order to know whether or not it will sell, you have to know how to read the Keepa graph, right? We did a Keepa training a couple of times. It was a paid Keepa training because it was an advanced training. It took about 2 hours. And everyone on there, when they were done, were able to read like the basics of the Keepa graph. And then I just showed you how to find products using Keepa with certain features that they have. And it was included in the Academy afterwards. I don't know if you guys want me, I think I had someone who was interested in doing another paid training for Keepa, but I would recommend actually joining the Academy because it's already in there and we did it twice already. The first time was like the basics. The second time I actually showed you how to use the Keepa feature to find products online, and it's included for everybody. I didn't mean for this to be a plug, but if you guys want to join it today, because of the live, a lot of people are interested in joining and signing up, but then they go home and forget about it. So we included like a 10% off just for the live. It's going to expire tonight, I think. If you guys are joining today, you can take advantage of that because you're joining live. And there's a lot of benefits to live. Of course, you get to ask questions. And that video that I did earlier, it's on YouTube, but it's not live for the public yet. I think we're going to schedule it for Sunday. We're actually going on vacation next week. So we scheduled it so that it will release when we're there, and more about that later. I'm really needing a vacation. So if you guys are hearing me out, let me know if you have anything planned this year, because it's been a very long year and a half for everybody. This is our first like real vacation in over a year. So yeah, next week we not gonna have like a schedule live like this, but we'll probably pop on just to say hello and see how everyone's doing, and maybe chit chat with you a little bit longer. But we are going with extended family, so.
Yeah, so I know Maria had a question over on Facebook about the Academy. I just linked it along with the 10% off code that's good through tonight. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, I think it's the coupon code is live 10 off. Yeah.
And it's in both chats, so definitely take a look at it and just kind of bookmark that code if you plan on applying it. Again, kind of a thank you for joining us live. This code is not going to be good for people that are watching the replay. Sorry, but
maybe next time. Marty say, highly recommend the Academy. Thanks, Marty. She's been selling for 5 years, and every time I hear her story, it just makes my heart like break and cry. I mean, cry for good. Like, I'm very excited for her because she took a pause from it and then came back like harder than ever doing replan. So it's definitely, it's very good because you kind of get like the value that you pay for it after everything that's put in, and future paid training is also included as well. Allison is asking, what is a reasonable goal for a beginner to set as far as monthly income? So Allison, this is a good question. So if you have enough money to get started, so I always preference by saying it depends on your budget. So let's say you want to make like $1,000 net profit a month, and I want to make sure I say this correctly. So with our products, we usually are looking at about 30% ROI. So if we spend $10, we want to make $3. Is that right?
I'm sorry, I was
30, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
We want our ROI is around 30%, right?
Yeah, our
30.
ROI minimum is 35%.
35.
So the way you calculate our ROI is that so you buy an item, and then that's the cost of the item, right? And then you sell it on Amazon. So you're going to go ahead and subtract the sales price. You're going to subtract the Amazon fees from the sales price, and then you're going to subtract the cost of the item. And then whatever money's left over is net profit. That's basically money going into your pocket. And then you divide that by how much you bought it for originally. So if the item cost you $10, for example, and you made a net profit of $3.50, 350 divided by 10 is 35%. So that's 35% ROI. So for us, that's kind of like the bare minimum. Our average ROI is actually a lot higher. It's closer to 100%. And what that means is that we bought an item for $10, and the net profit, the money that we put into our pocket, is actually $10. So that's a really good, healthy ROI.
Yeah, and I'm actually gonna share a screen from the Academy, so you guys, because this one will actually give you a better idea of how much, like, what is the reasonable goal for new sellers.
So speaking of the Academy, and on Facebook's asking, is Replan part of the Academy, or is it a different cost?
No,
So
I'm
the
saying-
Academy actually focuses just mostly on Replan. So
Yeah,
if you're looking
Replan.
for training on how to do like private label or branding, or even like retail ARB, that's definitely much more focused on Replan.
Okay, so who was it that asked? I forgot. Sure, Allison. Okay, Allison. So let's say you want to make $1,000 in sales a month, right? And our average product when we were starting out, now it's a lot higher, but it's around $15 per product that it's selling on Amazon. So that's about 66 products. So that means you need about 66 replenishable products to make $1,000 net. Oh, I'm sorry, $1,000 in revenue. So that's $1,000 in revenue. That's not your take home money, okay? So $1,000 divided by 15 is about 66 products. That's how I got 66. And at about 25 product margin, again, ours is about 35, but just being conservative and you're only taking home 25%, that's about $250. So not bad for just, doing replenishable. And this is you need to have products. So that's why we have the pods, and we're actually going to talk about the pods in a little bit, but the pods will help you find these products that will, so you don't have to go out and find it. Because like earlier when I was doing retail arbitrage, it took me about 20 to 25 minutes to find one home run product. So let's just say, and that's retail ARB. Retail ARB is actually a lot like faster to do, but Replan it takes a little bit longer. So after Amazon fees and everything, that's how much you're looking to take home. And so I think this will be a pretty reasonable goal if you're just starting out, and you can easily attain this within like 3 months. That's just about 2 products a day. Actually, no, you can attain this within 2 months. So if you find 2 products a day, that's 66 products in 2 months, right? Am I doing that math right? I hope so. So yeah, to see what type of hours you have, like if you have a couple hours in a day to spend on your business, then use that couple hours. In the beginning, it took me, I don't want to discourage you, but about 4 hours to find, I think 5 Replan. I mean, I was brand new. I didn't know what I was doing. So if you have the time, you can definitely learn all of this on your own. But if you don't have the time and you just want to have the shortcut and allow us to give you the products, then I would say the pods is good for you. And if you're brand new, then the Academy is good. So I hope I answer your question, Allison. Oh, here, I break it down even more. That's about 2 to 3 products a day or 15 products a week. And after a month, you'll be able to find 60 new products. So that's if you have time and you have the bandwidth to go through finding replenishable products.
And the beauty of Replan, and really any Amazon business to a certain extent, but more so with Replan, is that it's really very scalable. So if you want to just make a couple extra dollars a month to help pay some bills, or maybe save up for a nice vacation, or save up for your kids' college fund, you can just kind of do like a few sales a month. But if you're like us, where we actually wanted to replace our full-time salaries, we scaled it to a business level, to the point where the money that we make now allowed us to basically fire our bosses and stay home and work on this business full time. And there's everything in between that, right? And you kind of whatever your time allows you, whatever you're comfortable doing,
Yeah, it is scalable too. I know there are people who do retail arbitrage really well, but it was hard for us to scale it. But with Replan, now we, like next week when we go on vacation, we have somebody taking care of the entire warehouse. We don't even have to touch it. I think we're probably gonna be end up working like a couple hours maybe together next week, just to kind of make sure things are going well.
Yeah,
But,
we're at the point where Amy and I actually don't even go to the warehouse. You know, we go there just once in a while. So what that means is that we physically don't even touch the products, right? We have a whole system in place. We have, you know, Cece, Amy's sister. She's our operations manager. She manages the warehouse for us. She helps to manage the packers, the shoppers. You know, UPS comes there every day to pick it up. So we're actually at home. We're kind of doing the more like executive, you know, like business decision making type stuff behind the keyboard. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And really, anybody can get there. So, you know, if we did it in just a year's time, honestly, anybody can too.
Okay, so I think we have a follow-up question from Allison. What items do you avoid? So if you're starting out, I would avoid any type of hazmat products and hazard material, because you don't want to have to deal with that. And the funny thing about hazmat is that it's good because there's not a lot of competition, but it's not good because you have to be accepted into the program to do it. And actually in the academy, he made a whole module about how to get accepted into the hazmat program and be able to send it as FBA.
Yeah, the TLDR, too long didn't read about hazmat, is that it sounds really intimidating. Like, why would you want to do it? But the answer is that it's really actually very simple to do. And all it requires is some extra labels when you're shipping into Amazon, and that's basically it. Assuming that you've already been on the wait list and got accepted to Amazon, after that, you actually become one of the few sellers on the Amazon platform that is hazmat, or they also call it dangerous goods approved. And by doing so, there are certain listings where the majority of sellers are selling FBM, that is fulfilled by merchant, meaning that they ship it directly from themselves to a customer instead of doing FBA, because Amazon is restricting what they are allowing to ship into their warehouse if you're not hazmat approved yet. So again, long story short, you know, just check it out. It can really be a game changer for you if you find a really hot listing that has no hazmat FBA sellers on there. You could be the only one on there, and you can pretty much own the buy box.
Yeah, and breakable. So with things that are breakable, we prep them really well. We use a bunch of bubble wrap, and we get all of our material from Uline. And you know, if you prep it well enough, there shouldn't be an issue, especially when other people are avoiding it. You should do it because you can price it a little bit higher and make more profit.
So Maria on Facebook has been on the wait list for hazmat for a year, and she's asking whether she should reapply. That's really unusual. I mean, for us, it took us maybe like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. It's very possible that they might be like backlogged with people applying. If it's been that long, Maria, I would definitely look into reapplying, or just kind of try to contact sales support, see if they can give you an update of when they might actually accept you. You know, they're probably not likely going to give you any type of definitive time frame, but yeah, it's worth kind of following and see what's going on there.
Let's see, Tracy's asking, what's the best way to kickstart your business with no business sales experience? For example, besides setting our KPI budget, what else do you recommend we put together to run a healthy Amazon business? Tracy, so I would say you don't have to do any of that. So the quickest way to get started is to just get started. And when I first got started, the only thing I had was my Amazon seller app. I didn't even have Keepa. I didn't have any selling experience. We didn't worry about making an LLC or a trademark, or I didn't even think about budget, to be honest. I mean, I should have, but I had $300 in my pocket. I was a pharmacy student back then. And I was like, okay, this is the money that I have. And if I can make $300 back in a month, then, you know, I believe in this business. It's, you know, I've become a believer. And we did. We made it back within like actually a couple of weeks. So it's the thing that I like to say a lot is that you can't get a result unless you get started. And I think a lot of people get tied up with all of the nitty gritty stuff. and never really get started because they think that they need to have everything in order. They have to get ungated in every single category. They have to form an LLC and all that stuff. Amazon doesn't care about any of that. They just care that you make sales. And so
That's paralysis by analysis, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you kind of read so much to the point where you just get frozen. You're just like, I can't do any of this, right?
Mhm.
But what Amy said is true. Just get your butt into a car, drive to your local Walmart or Target, start scanning. That's all you have to do, you
Yeah.
know, and that's really how you're going to start your business. And then, like I was saying earlier, like the scaling is going to come later. That's when you're going to learn, okay, like now that I'm actually doing this and it's no longer just a side hustle or a hobby, or maybe you want to keep it like that, right? Which is perfectly fine. But then when you want to scale it to become a bona fide business, like what Tracy's kind of alluding to, then that's when you start to kind of do some more research about it. So I would say, yeah, it's kind of like a cross that bridge once you get there type of thing. So don't worry about it too far ahead.
Yeah, yeah, Tracy. So one other thing that I would probably add if you're looking to do the replan model is just have a spreadsheet of all of the items that you buy. So in the beginning, I just use Google Sheets. I have how much I bought it for, how much I expect to make, when the items hit Amazon warehouse, if it's sold, and then I kind of keep track of my budget that way, and also when I need to replenish it. So that's pretty much it. It's a very simple spreadsheet. And I was able to do that up until we had like 100 items, and then it just got too complicated. And so we had to, get all these softwares to take care of like repricing, replenishing, and all that stuff for us. But if you're just starting out and you have like less than 100 items, you can just get started with like Google Sheets.
So we have a question from Maria on Facebook. She's asking about like personal coaching. And you do offer personal coaching, but I think the suggestion is especially if you're just starting out, definitely go through the academy, take the course. It really gives you all the information that you need to kind of get started. And then you can go to the product finds pod to kind of get items to be able to sell on Amazon. So between those two services, it's everything that you really need to kind of like get your replan business up and running. If you want to kind of scale to where we're at, then Maria, that might be the point where we might actually come in and kind of give you some more like higher level advice.
Is this Maria who's asking?
Yeah.
Hey, Maria.
Yeah. So
She was in the pod too.
Oh, so she's in the pod.
Yeah, she was.
All right, so Maria, sorry, I didn't know how far along you were in this, but yeah, if you're looking to kind of like take it to the next level, definitely just DM Amy, and she'll be able to kind of give you some options in terms of personal coaching.
Okay. I think we have a question on Zoom from Cheryl. I'm starting out and shipping on my own for now. Do you do this to start? And what was the point where you switched to FBA? So Cheryl, we actually did FBA from day one. We didn't do FBM actually until last year when the pandemic hit, because FBA was like backed up. So we prefer FBA, and FBM is kind of tricky because you kind of have to know your numbers really well, and you have to factor in shipping costs, which is where most people actually lose money because of the shipping costs, because FBA is just so easy to kind of put things together and have Amazon do it. Even though we pay them a little bit more, it just works really well for us. So I definitely recommend, if you're thinking about switching to FBA, like just do it. So
I want to go back and make sure we don't lose some of these questions. So Jessica on Zoom is asking, how do you calculate shipping to Amazon while you're in the store sourcing?
Shipping to Amazon. So for us, it's about 40 cents per pound, and you can actually put in the settings how much you want Amazon to calculate for you for each item. So I didn't put it in the app because we do most of our products online now, but that's how much we pay, 40 to 50 cents, depending on how much you ship into them. The more you ship in, the cheaper the rates will be to ship to Amazon. So per box, you can have 50 pounds, which is a lot. And we've noticed that the closer we get to 50 pounds per box, the better the shipping rate is. Because I don't know how Amazon does it, but they have phenomenal rates with UPS. And so
yeah, they call it their partnered carrier program. So they've partnered with both FedEx and UPS to offer like ridiculously great rates, right?
Mhm.
So we've shipped in like 100 pounds for like $20 or something crazy low like that.
Yeah.
Marty is suggesting about 70 cents per pound to be safe. You know, yeah, if you want to
Yeah.
kind of err
Mhm.
on the side of caution, you can definitely go a little bit higher. But yeah, what Amy was saying, between 40 to 50 cents per pound is kind of like what we average. Over on Facebook, Daphne's asking if the Jungle Scout estimator says 30 units a month, is that 30 units for only me or for all of us in the listing?
Oh, good question. So it's for the listing. So if you are the only person on that listing, then you will most likely sell 30 units a month. But if you have other people sharing the listing with you, then you have to kind of put that, calculate how many units they have. And usually when you're outsourcing, Keepa will actually not tell you that. But unless they change their app, on the desktop, they will tell you how many units your competitors have in stock, and you kind of have to calculate that into the sales velocity.
Yeah, so I think any tool, Jungle Scout, Keepa, the legendary tools, whenever they estimate how much sells a month, it's always for the whole entire listing, right? Because it's hard for these
Mhm.
apps to really average the number of sellers, right? Because the number of sellers can wildly decrease and increase over time.
Yeah.
So it's always like for the entire listing itself.
Are we caught up with?
Okay. So
I'm gonna go next to Carrie. I think that she's next.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Carrie said I've jumped off. Oh, it's not a question, it's a comment. I've jumped off, but this is very helpful and I hope the video will be shared with Facebook. Yeah, Carrie, I will share it with, so it's a live, so it will be on Facebook already, but I'll also include the link to the YouTube video as well tomorrow, and I'll email it to everybody too. Tracy saying, I'm already established with LLC and have been doing RA and wholesale for a couple of months. The scaling part with acquiring more profitable account is the harder part. So when you're saying accounts, do you mean you're doing wholesale? Because we actually don't do a lot of wholesale. We do mostly retailers online and in-store replen. So yeah, if you're doing wholesale, it's the profit margin is a little bit smaller, and like you said, attaining more accounts is harder as well, because these wholesalers, sometimes they don't want to work with small sellers. They want to make sure you have enough in your budget to buy like hundreds of items. So that's why we haven't done much wholesale, because we don't really think that
Yeah,
it worked for us.
that's one big advantage of replaying over wholesale is that, you know, you don't have to worry about like large MOQ with minimum order quantities, right? So it's much less risky because you're just sending in maybe like, I don't know, 10 products to start, or 10 units of that item to start to see how well it sells. And if it does well, you send in 10 more, or maybe you up it up to 20.
Mhm.
But we're certainly not sending anything in the range of like hundreds of items, for example, right? And then so that, you know, that takes a lot of money. And then the items will, you know, if it's a slow seller, then you're stuck, right? So for us, it's much more nimble and agile, just sending in just a few items, doing the replan method.
Answer.
Yeah, so Anna on Facebook, she's saying that FBA for her is taking so long to get the items active. What is your advice for this? So, you know, FBA does take time, right? So when you ship it out, it's going to take a couple of days to reach the Amazon fulfillment center. And then it's probably going to sit on the dock for a few more days. And then Amazon may start to look at it after about a week that it left your door. And then it may not be fully active for maybe another week, because depending on how the distributed inventory setting that you set it at, Amazon could either have you ship it to many different fulfillment centers off the bat, or you might send it to one fulfillment center and then they'll spread it across the country. So what that means is that it's going to take time to reach all those different Amazon fulfillment centers. And I don't know, I think we typically say like about maybe 2 weeks after it's left our door for it to become
2
fully
weeks,
active.
yeah.
A week if you're lucky, but because a lot of times Amazon will actually start pre-selling your stuff. So if you ever notice that when you're shopping on Amazon Prime for an item And Prime means that it's going to be delivered in 2 days. Now, it doesn't mean it's actually going to get there in 2 days, right? It means that it's going to take 2 days shipping. So what that really means is that if it's in stock, it'll be there in 2 days or less. But a lot of times Amazon is selling stuff that hasn't even reached their fulfillment center yet. That's called the pre-sale. And when they do that, sometimes I've seen Prime items, they're estimating like a week, a month, even months, which is crazy. But 'cause that's not really Prime, right? But people don't pay attention to that; they just add the cart anyway. So Prime, a lot of buyers look at the Prime badge, and that's all they care about. So hopefully, Amazon is at least kind of pre-selling your items. But Anna, honestly, there's not much you can do about that. You just gotta keep on shipping stuff into Amazon, right? So don't ship stuff in and then wait until that stuff becomes active, because when you send in your next batch of stuff, then you gotta wait a few more weeks, right? So the idea is just send stuff in as fast as you can, and that way when Amazon gets to it, everything's gonna start hitting their shelves like one after the other. So that's really probably the best advice that we can give, is just consistently send stuff into Amazon.
Okay, so I'm gonna address, I think. Allison, no, we don't use Alibaba because we don't do sourcing overseas anymore. That's mostly private label, I believe, and a little bit of wholesale. And then Marty, we already talked about 70 cents. Thank you for that. Cheryl, so, okay, there's a list of ungated that I put in the Women Sellers group. There's also a list inside the Academy, which I'm trying to find, but I can't. But let me share my screen. I'll show you guys, because I get these questions a lot about how to find the list of ungated categories for new sellers. Okay, so if you guys are inside the Facebook group, you go to more and then go to files. And then categories open to all sellers. And so that's where you'll be able to download the list of items. I don't know where it went.
It's quick.
I think it downloaded. Oh, there we go. Okay. So here is a list of categories that's open to all sellers. So you don't have to be ungated. Luggage and travel. I'm not sure if we can find anything that's in that category, but I usually go toward office supplies, office products. Sports and outdoors is a good one, especially during the summer. Computers, I don't do that. Pets, so pet supply itself is a open category, but when you get into the subcategory of pet supply, like pet products, pet food, that's gated, so that you need to be ungated for that. Shoes, handbags, and sunglasses. Tools and home improvement is a good one. If you guys know anybody who is handy, like Lowe's, Home Depot have a lot of good replenishable items in that category. Toys. So toys is ungated, but there's an asterisk. So some subcategory is restricted, and brands is restricted, as well as, like we spoke about earlier, during the holidays. Amazon has certain criteria before you can sell toys. Video games is a good one. Baby is open category, but like baby products, baby food, things like that. The subcategory is gated. Beauty is ungated, but again, subcategory is gated. Books. So somebody asked if we do books. We don't do books anymore, just because the BSR for those are really, really high. It's actually really hard to sell books unless you can buy them for like boxes and boxes of books. And even with that, it might take way too long for us to sell. So we don't do books anymore. Grocery. So food and grocery is ungated, but again, I think now Amazon has just started gating people. So if you are gated, you have to get ungated again. I don't know. It was like a glitch or something in their system. Health and personal care. The subcategory is definitely gated. Home and garden or home and kitchen is a good one. If you're brand new, you can start looking for items in there. Industrial scientific is another hidden one that not a lot of people know. So, okay. All right, Cheryl, bye. We'll see you next time. Okay, so I hope that helps for anybody who is just getting started and are looking for categories to sell in. And we have more in depth again in the Academy. I'm trying to find it, but I can't. So, about like things that you can sell. Okay. How's Facebook?
We got a question from Maria about the Academy. Does it cover anything on creating your own bundles, including GTIN numbers and how to get exemptions?
No, Maria, that's more for private label again. Although I was thinking about making a bundle module, and that will cover how to make, create a new listing, how to get UPC codes, all that good stuff. We don't make our own listings anymore. We only do bundles when we know something sells really, really well, and the bundle doesn't exist on Amazon yet. So for example, last year we found like the spray, and then we found the refill, and both of them were selling really well, but the bundle of the refill and the spray did not exist on Amazon. So we created that bundle, and now it's like doing really, really well. We don't even sell on it anymore because we can't find it. But whoever is selling on that listing, you're welcome. We did that for you. Allison, can you talk more about getting ungated in toys? Yeah, Allison, so if you want to get ungated in toys, you need to buy from a wholesaler or a manufacturer or a distributor. And you need to submit invoices in order to get ungated for toys. And the one that we actually recommend is from EE Distribution. So you need to get a wholesale account with EE Entertainment Earth, and they will distribute whenever you buy something. Amazon requires you to get 10 units of that item. They will give you an invoice, and you use that invoice and submit it to Amazon in order to get ungated. And we got ungated in Legos, in Hot Wheels, I think Marvel. So they have all these big brands too. So you can do like a double ungating where you're ungating for the category and the brand. So that's a really good source if you want to get ungated in toys. And we actually did a whole ungating live like a few weeks ago, and we have people like on live who were getting ungated left and right. So that was really fun. Okay, so how are we doing over there?
Looks like we're all caught up on Facebook, I believe.
Yeah, I think we are on Zoom as well. Do you guys have any other questions? I think we're coming up on time here, but we usually will stay back if we have any more questions.
So Stephanie on Zoom is asking about Alibaba.
Oh yeah, I asked that earlier. I mean, I think I said we don't anymore. Oh wait, she just asked. No, Stephanie, we don't do Alibaba anymore, unfortunately. We did it like a long time ago, and it was for private label. When we first got started with Amazon, we were selling like yoga towels. We had no idea what we were doing. So we ordered 500 units of it from Alibaba, and you know, slap a label on it, create a whole new listing and everything, and even did PPC. We spent a ton of money on that. I think close
I mean, not just PPC, but also getting
to
reviews,
reviews.
fighting back hijackers.
Yeah.
It was messy.
So we just don't recommend doing, especially if you're new and you're kind of testing the waters, just start with retail arbitrage or replen, because private label is just like a really cutthroat type of business right now. Not to say that it's not successful. Some people are able to kind of like get really lucky and just hit it, you know, out of the ballpark and do really well with private label. But you only can launch so many products, right? Maybe like a handful of them each year. But with replen, you're able to buy like thousands within just a few months, like I showed earlier. And so you're kind of spreading your risk across the board so that you're not relying on just a handful of products. I think private label is more like the sexy way of doing Amazon. And some of these teachers out there might tell you that it's good. We kind of bought into that, and that's what we did. And so we want to show you that, you know, it's not a good way to get started. You can do other things to kind of understand the system first before you jump into private label. So I hope that helps, Stephanie. Let's see, Christina, does Amazon keep part of their fees when you do a return? Yes. So Christina, unfortunately, Amazon still has to do the work, so they do still keep the fees, even if you the customer return, they do keep the fees that are, because they already did the work. But
It's probably the pick and pack fee.
the pick and
right?
pack fees.
So whenever you're selling on FBA, there's two fees. The referral fee, which is 50%. That's simply, you know, for listing on their website. And then the pick and pack fees, them actually hiring the workers to take it off their shelves and put it into a box and ship it to the customer.
Yeah, so, yeah, but good thing is with this business, our return rate is not that high. Our highest is probably in January, just because a lot of people bought a bunch of stuff during Q4 and returned. And even so, it wasn't like, breaking out business or anything. It was just a little bit higher than normal. So I hope that you're not getting that many returns. But if you do, it's
So
it's part of doing
it
business.
looks like Christina might be referring to FBM because she's talking about a customer initiating return before she even printed this label to drop off the package. So that sounds like FBM.
Oh, then I don't think so.
In those cases, the only fee that Amazon charges you is the 15% referral fee. And Amazon, I believe, is going to return that back to you. However, the shipping that you paid to get it to the customer will not be refunded, nor, and then you're also paying for the shipping for the customer to send it back to you. So you're gonna get hit with shipping costs both ways.
But if they cancel it before she even shipped it out, then
Well, no, it's not a cancellation because once you print the label in FBM, the order is pretty much completed. So you can't cancel an order once. A customer can't cancel an order once the seller has printed the label, which is what Christina did.
I see.
So the only thing the customer can do at that point is actually do a return. So essentially what Christina is referring to is that a customer bought an item, Christina printed out the label, and the customer had buyer's remorse, didn't see an option to cancel because it's too late, decided they didn't want it anymore, and they just did a return.
Mhm.
So in that case, the customer actually probably did you a favor, Christina, because then hopefully you saw it before you went to drop off the package. That way you can cancel the shipping label and then just refund the customer, and you're not, you haven't lost that shipping that you paid to get to the customer. So I think that's actually probably a good thing. You know, returns are never great, but it's worse when you've already shipped it out and they want the money back.
Yeah,
So-
I'm glad you're here, because I know nothing about FBM, guys. I mean, he
Yeah, so
he does most of our FBM orders.
FBM stands for fulfillment by merchant. So, we as a merchant, also known as a seller, are the ones that will be the ones shipping it to the customer. So think of it like eBay style, right? FBA is where Amazon does all the fulfillment. FBM is where we do all the fulfillment. So that's the difference there.
Okay, Tracy's asking, how do I source our replenishable? So Tracy, we used to do it all in store, and I would, like I did with retail arbitrage, I went and scanned everything within an aisle. Like I would be standing in the baby aisle and scan every single item, and then it will pop up whether or not it's profitable. And because I didn't know anything about Keepa, I would just buy everything that I think is profitable. But then when I go home and start looking more into the item, and I ship it out to Amazon already, sometimes it doesn't sell because it just sells really slowly, or there's too much competitors. And so you kind of learn on the way, and you can spot out the items are good. Like I did earlier with the example of buying, selling things at around $15. You want to buy it for about $3 to $5, so that after fees and everything, you can still take home a pretty healthy margin. But I start with items that I'm allowed to sell in, which we talked about earlier, all the categories that you're ungated in. And then also hobbies of myself, like I like arts and crafts, I like baby stuff because we are parents. And so we always are in that aisle anyway. So that's when I start scanning and I start to know the items and know the prices. So sometimes when I don't have time at the store, I would actually take pictures of the aisle and then go home and do the research. So in a way, that's kind of like online arbitrage, but you're just bringing your work home so that you don't have to stand there for 4 hours doing research. What is our strategy for Prime Day coming up? So we just send in a bunch of different items. I think we send in 2x of what we normally ship in, just to kind of prepare for that rush. I mean, Prime Day is kind of like a snapshot of Q4, and we did a live last week about it. And it's posted on YouTube if you want to go back and listen to that. Does anything change other than sending inventory in a month advance? Yeah, nothing changed because we don't do private label. We don't do PPC. We just kind of like ride the wave. We used to run PPC, do giveaways, and discounts and all that stuff. But now, because the items are already ranking, we don't have to worry about ranking it even more. So we're happy with how it's selling, and we're just going to take advantage of shoppers on Amazon during that day. And it's 2 days this year, June
21st and
21st and
22nd, I
22nd,
believe.
yeah.
So, Amazon probably gets the most visitors of any over the course of any 2 days, including in Q4, right? So over those 2 days, you're gonna naturally get a lot of eyeballs on Amazon, and they're eventually gonna stumble up upon your listing, even if you're not slashing your prices, right? So it's just kind of like a kind of a little bonus, so to speak. But yeah, nothing different for us replanners except just get more stuff in there and prepare to kind of like have a spike in numbers for those 2 days.
Yeah, and Tracy, if you don't have time to find replenishable products and you already are ungated, I'd recommend joining the advanced pod, which we have a few spots open right now for Monday coming up. The beginners pod unfortunately is full. We had a lot of interest in the beginners pod, but if you are interested, you want to be on the wait list for it, there's about 30, 40 people on the list, and I'm hoping to open up one next month, hopefully. It's just every time I open it up, it gets filled up really fast. And so, yeah, so if you want to, if you're just joining us right now and listening in, everything will be recorded. So don't worry about like taking notes or going back into the chat. But yeah, if you're ungated in like groceries, beauty, health, pets, then join the advanced pod, because you don't have to pretty much like you don't have to like waste hours and hours finding products like I did in the beginning. We just give you the products.
Yeah, think of it as like
So-
a cheat sheet or like a cheat code if you're a video gamer like me. Instead of spending hours learning the Keep a Graph, making mistakes, buying stuff that's not profitable, Amy's gonna deliver products to your inbox pretty much every day, right? Well, not really inbox, but it's good Google Sheets type of thing. But anyway, you're gonna get products daily. You get to know exactly where to source it from. You get to see exactly the profit margin, and you get to know the listing to put it onto. All you gotta do is buy it, ship it into Amazon, and just watch the money come in. So simple as that.
Okay, hi Mariella. She's been patiently waiting. Do you do the refunds yourself, or do you tell the customer to call Amazon?
This is actually a very important question, so I just want to kind of emphasize this. So again, Mariella is asking, do you do refunds yourself, or do you tell the customer to call Amazon so that they can process the refunds for you? This is for FBA. The answer is never, ever, ever process a refund to an FBA customer. People have actually been suspended for that. I don't know the reason why Amazon would do such a thing, but FBA is Amazon not just fulfilling the items to the customer, but they're also doing the customer service. So what I typically would tell a customer that has messaged me is that Amazon fulfilled this order, so please contact them for any customer service needs, right? So very, very important, because people have been suspended for doing that, for refunding it behind Amazon's back. Now, if you sold the item FBM, meaning that you're the one that shipped directly to the customer and they're asking for a refund, that's where you are the only person that can actually initiate the refund. And you should actually take care of it right away. Amazon can get involved later on if the customer files a to Z satisfaction claim, and that's going to hurt you, right? So, as much as it hurts giving a full refund to people, know that that's just part of the business. It's a part of the cost of selling on the Amazon platform. And hopefully the returns aren't a huge percentage of your business. So just refund it and just move on. I wouldn't get into like an argument with the buyer. They always say the customer is always right, and we know that's not always true. However, you have more to lose than the customer, right? If you get into a fight with them or you refuse the refund, they can file claims with Amazon. Amazon's going to, possibly suspend you, right? And it's just not worth it, so take a loss and just move on.
Okay, so Tisha said, I just joined the beginner's pod. It's very helpful. Thanks, Amy. You're welcome, Tisha. And we've been chit-chatting back and forth too. So Anytime there's some people who are just joining, I kind of want to like kind of walk them through, and there are questions that come up too, but a lot of the time, the questions are actually answered inside the academy. And if you missed earlier, we talked about having a coupon code for today. If you're joining live, and as a way of saying thank you, we're giving you 10% off the academy. So it is, what is it,
Live
10
off.
off, yeah. So you can, it's gonna expire today though. It's just to kind of make sure that only if you're joining live, you're able to take advantage of the code.
Tracy, while you're doing that, Tracy has a question about the pods. So Tracy is asking for the advanced pod. Once they receive a list, would they have to go into the store and source or grab the products off the shelves, order online, or how does it work?
So you would order online. So everything is online arbitrage. So you don't have to even leave your house. So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, so 100% of your pods items are online arbitrage,
Online.
meaning that you never have to actually drive to the store.
Mhm. So I'm just linking it on Facebook as well. Hi, Kim. Kim is joining us, I think, on Facebook.
Oh, and then Maria on Facebook is commenting that she's noticing a lot more refunds being initiated by Amazon. There's not even a return for the return listed. Yeah, Maria, you know, returns, especially with FBA, is also the other, like I was saying earlier, like the cost of you know, selling on Amazon. That's part of the reason why people are flocking to Amazon and buying other items. Sometimes, so part of the reason why the replay model works is because people love it prime, right? They get it in 2 days or less, and they also love the no hassle, no questions asked return policy. Now, that may not actually sound great to us as sellers. However, understand that, like, you know, over time, the percentage of people that actually doing returns are pretty small. So I wouldn't really worry too much about returns and focus on it. You know, we get our shares of refunds and returns all the time, but our goal is to sell a lot more than people are actually returning. So,
Tisha's asking, can I ship all the products I've been buying from the pod to Amazon? Asking because I've been buying a few pieces of each product for now. Yeah, Tisha, so usually people kind of save up a whole week's worth of products from the pod, or maybe a couple weeks, and then they ship it all together. So you can definitely just wait until you have like a certain number of items before you ship it in. Before you jumped in the live, someone asked about like how much items you should ship in and how do you like maximize the shipping rate. We usually try to get it as close to 50 pounds as we can per box. And our minimum now is 80 units before we ship anything out. But you know, somebody who's just starting out like yourself, or I've had someone who shipped 15, 20 units just to kind of test it out, like how to do a shipment plan, how to get used to Seller Central. So do what you're comfortable with. If you want to start this, you know, want to start doing it right away, you can definitely just ship out what you have. But yeah, you can ship out everything together and make it one shipment plan.
yeah, so you know, time is money, right?
Mhm.
And in this case, you could try to save on shipping by waiting for a lot of stuff to come in and ship it all in at once. Depends on how quickly you're collecting all those items, right? But also, the longer the item sits on your kitchen table or in your warehouse or whatever, that's less time that it's selling on Amazon, right? So you just kind of have to weigh where you're at in terms of you know, how big your business is, right? So if you're only getting a few products in, you know, in a week, just go ahead and send it and just kind of at least get the sales going on them.
All right, so I think we're caught up with questions and we're actually up with time to.
Yeah, so Jocelyn on Facebook is asking, when I use the Amazon seller app, there's a section that says shipping credit. What exactly does that mean? So shipping credit will only appear when you're doing the seller fulfilled or the FBM tab. So whenever you scan an item, it's going to give you a bunch of information, including two tabs, seller fulfilled and Amazon fulfilled, which is just FBM and FBA. So in the seller fulfilled, there's going to be a shipping credit because you have the option to actually charge the customer shipping. So we know that on FBA everything is free shipping, it's all prime. FBM, you can actually separate the selling price and the shipping to two different pricing. And the shipping credit is simply how much Amazon's going to collect for shipping from the customer to pay for shipping. So for example, I buy a product and I say I want to charge the customer $5 to ship it. That $5 is going to show up as a shipping credit in the seller app when it's estimating the profit. And then when you scroll down, it's going to say how much are you actually spending to ship it to the customer. So let's just say you do $5 again. So that $5 that you got from the customer and the $5 that you're going to spend, let's say with UPS, that pretty much cancels each other out, right? What I would suggest is actually just doing free shipping. In other words, you're going to bake the cost of shipping into the price of the item. Studies have found that people like the idea of free shipping, even though we know that shipping is not for, somebody's got to pay for it, right? But they just like seeing the word free shipping, even though it might cost more. That's just like the psychological way of kind of pricing your shipping. So doing it that way, the shipping credit should be zero, and then also the cost of shipping to the customer should be zero, because all that matters is how much you're going to price the item for at the top of the app.
Okay, Janaika, she's just joining us. Yeah, I'll send you the video. She said she missed the beginning. It's actually going to be on YouTube tomorrow, and I'll email you if you signed up for this live. I should have your email, so you guys will get the replay tomorrow. So sorry we missed you in the beginning. We'll try to do, so we have a plan to do 2 of these lives a week so that we can catch more of the West Coast people, probably in July. So be on the lookout for an announcement about that. And
Yeah, because we realized that these 5 p.m. Zooms are 2 o'clock in the West Coast, which is middle of the afternoon for people out there.
yeah,
So we want to kind of make it a little bit more convenient for people that want to kind of like join us maybe after work. So so we'll still keep the Thursday format, 5 p.m. Eastern, and then we're going to add an additional day each week for 5 p.m. Pacific. And you're more than welcome to join us for
both.
one or both,
Yeah, so all right, guys, so next week we will be on vacation, and we love you guys, and we will kind of hop on again. It won't be a scheduled live like this one. We'll just pop up on Thursday to say hi and to check up on everybody. We hope you're staying safe, especially if you're on the West Coast, and of course with everything going on, stay safe, and we'll catch you more in the Women Sellers group. Let us know if you have any questions, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.